Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Backlund. Today we're starting a new chapter, and the whole chapter is just on circles. You never knew there was so much to learn about circles. And today you've got your yellow packet. I expect you to fill that out. And we're just going to learn like the 6 main vocabulary words so that you'll be able to succeed in the rest of this chapter. Pay really close attention because at the end of this class period you're going to have a quiz on these terms, and yeah, let's get started. So your very first little box, we're going to talk about the radius of circle C. By the way, this funny little notation, that just means circle C. And that means that it's a circle and point C is the center of that circle. So if you know the name of the center point of a circle, you can name it circle that point, circle C. Okay, so you guys know what a radius is. A radius is a segment that goes from the center out to the edge of the circle. It's a segment. You probably should write this down. With endpoints and points. At the center of the circle and, well, I guess, on the circle. Because technically the circle is just like the outline of the circle, the stuff on the inside. But we sometimes talk about area. It doesn't actually count as part of the circle. If I talk about the circle, I'm talking about the actual edge of the circle. And the second one is diameter. You probably know what that one is too. Diameter goes all the way across, joining one point to one point and passing through the center. So again, it's a segment. With endpoints. On the circle. And it has to pass through the center. Okay, those are the easy ones. You've learned those before. These next 4 maybe you have never heard of before. And a chord. A chord is also a segment, and you can pretty much draw it anywhere, but a chord is just a segment that has endpoints on the circle. And it doesn't have to pass through the center, but if it did, it'd be called the diameter. But this is a chord. So a chord, again, is a segment. With endpoints on the circle. Alright, so there's all of our segments. And this next one, you'll see that it says line, so a secant. It's a secant line of circle C. It's kind of like if you took a chord and you extended it infinitely and made it a line. So like just the segment on sort of the interior of the circle will be the chord, but if you extend it infinitely, then it's called a secant line. So a secant line is a line. Maybe they'll say that intersects. I like that. A line that intersects. So you should write that down. A line that intersects the circle at 2 points. We've got another type of line, and guess what? This line doesn't intersect the circle at 2 points. It intersects the circle only at 1 point. So it's kind of like, you know how like sometimes a wheel's rolling on the ground, it would only touch just at that very bottom part. So you pick any point on the circle, and you can draw a tangent line as long as your line only touches the circle at that 1 point. That's called a tangent line. So we'll write that it's a line. Should we say intersect or touch? a line that intersects the circle at only one point is a tangent line of circle C. And then the point of tangency, it's basically the same picture because it's just that point. Obviously, that point where the tangent line touches. So that right there is the point of tangency. So this time it's just the point. We say point of intersection. For the tangent line in the circle. Point of intersection or the tangent line in the circle. And if you need to pause right now to take all that down, that works. And these are the 6 basic vocab words that you're going to need to make it in chapter 11, which is kind of an intense chapter. So let's just look at some examples. I just found these real life pictures that reminded me of our 6 words. So this Ferris wheel here reminded me, see all these segments that go from the center out to the edge of the circle? Each of those is the same length, actually. That's kind of cool about circles. Each of these would be the same length, and each of these are called a, say it, radius. And if you have more than one radius drawn on your picture, sometimes you'll hear them say radii. It's plural for radius. The second one I thought was a good picture. If it's exactly 6 o'clock, this one's about 7 seconds from it, but if it's exactly 6 o'clock, you're going to see a diameter of the circle. Diameter. It's actually a picture of an earring or something, and it reminds me of some chords, right? So there's that chord, there's that chord, there's that chord, there's that chord. I don't know if you see any other ones, because they have to have the endpoints on the circle, so I think that's all of them. So that would be the chords of that circle. And we've got a crop circle going down in this bottom one. And I just noticed all of these like lines through the field. And it's kind of like they're intersecting that circle, right? At 2 points. So that's an example of secant lines. And all of these things have crazy properties that you never even knew about. So we'll be learning about those. All right, this last one, like I said, that where the tire meets the road reminds me of a tangent line. I suppose if I'm calling a tangent line, I better put the arrows on the end. Sometimes you'll hear them talk about tangent segments and just chop that off. And then this last one, this is one of those rotary cutters that crafty people use, but it kind of cuts through the paper or the fabric or whatever, and the place where it's cutting is the point of tangency. I don't know if that helped, but it kind of gave you a visual of some real life places that you'll see these things. And this last one is kind of like what your homework will look like. It's a big old circle with a bunch of segments and points and whatnot. And you just need to be able to name each of these pieces. And so if we were going to name this circle, I guess I'd have to tell you that the center was at point T. And if we know that the center is at point T, we can call it, remember we can make this funny little symbol. And the reason we have to put that center on is because we're naming it by the center. So that's circle T. Maybe some of you see the radius. Actually, I see more than one option for a radius. Probably the first one that sticks out is this radius. And remember, it's a segment, and this is taking us way back. So if it's a segment, you have to put the little segment bar on top. Do you see the other 2 pieces, the other 2 segments that I would say are radii? I'm seeing this one TR. So you could say TR or RT, same thing. Or T. All right. that brings us to diameter. Diameter would be the one that goes to the center but goes all the way across the circle. And I think we only have one option for that one, ER or RE. And then you have to think, is that a segment or a line or what's going on? And it's a segment, so I want to see the segment bar there. You see any chords? Are you still paying attention? You have a quiz on this soon. So a chord could be maybe this segment right here. Remember, the segment has to touch the circle at its two endpoints. And so WS would be a chord. I suppose you could actually say that the diameter is a chord. Or you could say maybe that SR piece is a chord. Do you see where that one is? SR or RS. Remember that secant is a line. So a secant line has to intersect the circle at two spots. I'm seeing it right here. It's kind of an extension of that chord, right? So if I asked you to name a secant line from the circle, I'd be looking for SR. And remember how we name lines with the line symbol on top. Make sure you don't forget that, because I don't want to have to mark that wrong. And then your tangent is also a line. This is the one I intended to be the tangent line because it's touching the circle only in one point. So we could call that line FA, line AF. You have to have 2 points to name a line. And then the point of tangency, where this line meets the circle, is point F. And remember, to name a point, we just use a capital letter and call it good. So that's what I expect you to be able to do at the end of the period. And for the rest of the period, I expect you to be working on your assignment out of your book. And when there's maybe about 5 or 10 minutes left of class, yourself is going to have you do that quiz. So I suggest getting to work on this assignment, making sure you know this stuff before quiz time comes. And I will see you tomorrow.